Hey there everybody, welcome back to the Deep Fog. Recently, I had the pleasure of getting to watch an early screening of the film Together. For those who are unaware, Together follows a long-term couple, Millie and Tim, as they move from the city to the countryside, testing the limits of their relationship. And from there, things get, pretty fucked up. And I'll be honest with you guys, ever since the first trailer dropped in March of 2025, I have been stoked for this movie. When I found out there was an early screening, I had to go watch it. And this film heavily lived up to my expectations. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about the film, what I liked about it, what I didn't. We're going to do a spoiler-free section and then go a little bit more spoilery towards the end, but I will give a warning before we do that. So without further ado, let's talk about Together. Now to go ahead and get this off the bat before we actually get deeper into talking about the film, I do know about the controversy involving this film. There is a lawsuit in which it is believed Together plagiarized another film called Better Half. I'm not going to speak too much on it because I don't feel like I'm educated enough on the lawsuit and all the accusations to really give my opinion. But from everything I've read, it's kind of seeming like it's dead in the water. I think my honest opinion on the entire thing is I think two people just ended up having a very similar idea, and it just so happened that a lot of coincidences occurred. But I don't think it's enough to actually say that it was plagiarizing their movie. Getting into the actual film itself, holy shit, this was a great movie. This film did everything that I like in horror movies. This film does really good at having a core premise and theme that it's going for and try to convey it to the audience. And it does it in a way that really sticks to the theme while also scaring the living shit out of you. I don't think I've been this uncomfortable watching a movie in a theater in a minute. The effects of all of the scary shit going on is really good, and I also really like this film's connections to history and the way it tries to give everything a reason. And of course, sometimes in horror movies people will argue about how things shouldn't have a reason for why they're happening, but I think this movie did it quite well. You care a lot about the two main characters. They are very interesting, and their relationship is very interesting. You care a lot about what's going to happen in these two. And if I do have to give it one flaw, I will say that I think the plot is honestly pretty predictable. If you have watched any of the trailers for this movie, I would argue about 90% of you know where it's going to go. However, the way the film gets there and the journey you take to that ending is incredible. These characters feel so genuine, and the fact that these two are a real-life couple also clearly adds to the chemistry and just the fun of these two characters. It is just so well done. Not only that, but it is a beautiful film, too. The shots are incredible, the cinematography is amazing. It has a lot to say about relationships and connection and how this all affects you as a person, your individuality. And it's such a good story to use body horror to tell. And I'd also like to add too, can we fucking bring body horror like this back? Cause holy shit, this is so cool. Some of these scenes were genuinely so disgusting in the best way, and body horror is one of the few horrors that truly genuinely freak me out. And man, this shit freaked me out. It was so captivating. I'd also like to add that the soundtrack was very good as well. It was actually one of my favorite parts. So, all in all, I think that this film is 100% worth watching. I think if you like body horror, if you like good horror stories with an actual plot behind them and trying to say something with its plot, this is the movie to go watch. I am so glad to see horror coming back like this, and not just horror coming back, but I mean good horror. I mean genuine stories, telling an actual story and using horror as a basis to tell those stories, because a lot of times you can tell incredible stories and incredibly emotional and deep stories while also having horror elements, because sometimes that's the best way to make you care. Now we're getting into the spoiler section, so we're going to talk a little bit more deeper about some of the scenes that I really cared about and why I thought it was so good. To go ahead and start, I wasn't expecting a lot of the stuff about the cult and the connection to history. I did kind of assume that they were going to have an explanation for some of this stuff, but the way that they did it was actually far different than I thought. but still very interesting. I actually really liked the direction they took it in, and I think that introducing the Jamie character and the twist that comes at the end of the movie of him turning out to be two people in one is super interesting. And I actually really think that, although I did say the ending could be predictable in some ways, I think the turnout that the two people just become one person was actually a little surprising. I didn't really expect that, because I kind of just assumed they would become an amalgamation, but I guess some people don't, which was kind of a cool concept to go for. Also, the scene in the bathroom where he cannot get his dick out of her was I can't believe I didn't think that they were going to do something like that, but man, they sure went all in for that. I just wasn't expecting that. I love how you can just tell how much fun Alison, Brie, and Dave Franco had filming this, and it's just so cool and such a smart idea to cast these two together in a movie about this. It was a lot of fun. I just cannot wait. The only movie I think this year that might compete with this is Bring Her Back, or hopefully Weapons will be just as good as this film. I'm very excited for Weapons. But all in all, that's all I wanted to say. Go watch Together when it comes out. Great film. That's about it.